Good morning, class. My name is Tamika Simpson, and I will be your instructor for this writing course. What we're going to discuss today is how to generate ideas for the writing process. In order to be a successful writer, whether it's professionally or academically, you need to have something to write about. And today you'll learn 3 different methods that you can use as far as generating ideas while you're beginning your writing process. The learning goals for today's class, we're going to learn the importance of invention strategies for generating ideas. We'll compare the various invention methods discussed and critique the 3 methods of invention discussed in this lesson while completing idea generating activities in class. And then we'll get to apply the newly learned methods of idea generation to start working on your assignment. Now you may ask, why is invention important to writing? Well, like I stated before, you need to have something to write about. And in order to have something to write about, you're going to have to generate ideas. So when you're generating ideas for your assignment, trying to come up with things to write about, this helps you know what kind of materials to search for, to use as references if you're doing a research assignment. It also helps you discover the thesis or the main idea of your writing. Because as ideas start coming into your mind, or you start researching and coming across different material, then you may realize, hey, okay, I can put this information together and this will work as a thesis. And invention can really help as a major factor in these 3 parts of the writing process. The thesis statement, which is the main idea of your paper. So if it's the main idea of your paper, you know the thesis statement is very, very important. So you definitely want to make sure that you have some good ideas and some good information to pull from when you're ready to create that thesis statement. And also for subject matter. This expands on the thesis. So once again, this is very important. And all those ideas that you're generating, you can use those, pull from those to also enhance the subject matter portion of your paper. And the argument. The argument is the form of subject matter, including persuasive demonstrations and points you, as the writer, want to prove. So if if you're writing a persuasive or an argumentative piece, then you want to be able to prove your point. So in order for you to prove your point, you may need to come up with different ideas, find different resources that's going to help you to get your point across to your audience. Now, before we go into the 3 types of invention strategies that I want to talk about today, I want to know, what invention strategy do you normally use to generate ideas? And you can just take a moment to think about that. Do you use more than one invention strategy? Is your invention strategy that you currently use effective? Are you coming up with the good ideas when you're writing, or are you still struggling to generate ideas in order to begin the writing process? If you are struggling to still generate those ideas, then these invention strategies that we're going to discuss today should definitely help you come up with ideas. It should make the idea generation process a bit more easier for you. The first one that we'll discuss is brainstorming. Now, brainstorming, this is one that I love because it's very simple. You just write down everything that comes to your mind about a particular subject. And it's one of the most widely used inventive techniques. In the 1950s, Alex Osborne stated the main rules of brainstorming, and they were: number 1, don't criticize or evaluate any idea during the session. Number 2, use your imagination. Number 3, strive for quality. The more ideas, the better. And number 4, combine and improve ideas as you go along. So basically, when you're brainstorming, you're just writing down anything that comes to your mind. There's no idea that you should say, oh no, that's not good enough. Anything that pops into your mind, go ahead and use that. Go ahead and write that down, because that may be something that you can expand on later. The next invention technique that we're going to discuss is clustering. This works best when it's done quickly. There's no right or wrong way to cluster. To cluster, what you do is you simply write a word on top of your paper, write other words or ideas that come to mind that are associated with that word. So it's a lot like brainstorming. Continue writing words or phrases associated with the initial word for a few minutes, and eventually you'll get to a point where you are able to begin writing. So with clustering, you can just take a word and say you take the word playground, and you have playground, then you can just put other words under it, like playground, I think elementary school, childhood, monkey bars, jungle gym, swings, things like that. And you just keep going, and you can even add some phrases in there until you're ready to start generating sentences. Okay, the last invention technique we're going to discuss is free writing. Free writing is actually, this is what I used to start with before taking any college writing courses. I would just sit down and I'd have my topic and I would just write. So some people like to start with the free writing. Some people go from brainstorming or clustering and then the free writing. Whichever works for you, that's what you're going to want to do in order to generate ideas. But for free writing, what it helps you do is it loosens the inhibitions of the inexperienced writer. And oftentimes after you've completed brainstorming and clustering, this is when most people free write. You begin with a blank sheet of paper and you just start writing. Use complete sentences as much as possible. And don't stop writing during the free writing period. Don't worry about grammar, punctuation, spelling. You're just going to take whatever ideas you have, whatever's coming to your mind, you just go ahead and start writing. Like I said, the word that I used was playground. Okay, so for free writing, I could say, I used to love to go on the playground when I was in elementary school. The monkey bars was my favorite part of the playground. If the monkey bars were not available, then I would go play on the swings. See, I'm just saying anything that comes to my mind. It's just a good way to get you thinking quickly and get your ideas flowing. So now that we have gone over 3 different types of invention strategies or techniques, we're going to do an in-class invention activity. So for this activity, I'm going to give you a word, which the word is dreams. And I want you to use at least 2 of these invention strategies in order to generate some ideas to write about the word dream. This is just an in-class assignment. It's not graded. I just want you to see how exactly you go about implementing these strategies in your writing process. Are there any questions? Okay, this is the resource that I use for all of the information that I provided in today's lecture. All of my information was found in the St. Martin's Guide to Teaching Writing. It's a very valuable resource in helping with writing in general, but I found it particularly useful in giving a lot of information about the writing process and invention techniques. So what I'll do now is we'll go ahead and I will set a timer for 10 minutes, and that'll give you 10 minutes for your first part of your invention strategy, whichever technique you decide to use. Then we'll have another 10 minutes for your next strategy you plan to use, and then The last 15 minutes, I want you to go ahead and put all those ideas together, and that's when you can really start the free writing, and we'll see what you come up with those invention strategies. Well, good luck, and I hope that you learned a lot from these invention strategies, and I'm always here if you have any questions.